Welcome everyone to the L7C podcast NBA edition. We are back at the Christmas portion of the NBA season. We have the NBA aficionado with us, Mr. Evan Debo. How are you doing today, sir?
Happy holidays, Martin. Happy holidays to the listeners.
Hey, happy holidays to you as well, Mr. Debo. We are back. Christmas is upon us. New Year's is upon us, which means Christmas basketball is upon us. And before we go into mainly the Christmas games, just want to ask you a general question, Evan. So
Yeah,
far, how you liking the season so far? Not from we're going to talk about the Cavs at the end, but from just
yeah,
watching the basketball, how are you feeling about this season?
yeah. I mean, it is our same sport we certainly love and hold dear. I will say, and I'll ask you the same thing. Yeah, it's a little like rock paper scissors. Like the primetime games on what channel? I mean, we knew this going
Yeah.
in, but like we're a quarter season in. It's starting to get to the point where it's like it's starting to get frustrating. Like I don't see them quite there yet, but I mean, it still involves you being subscribed to like 8 different things.
Yeah, I agree. I get confused a lot. On Tuesdays, I'm going to Amazon when I need to go to Peacock, and on this day I'm going to Peacock when I need to go on Amazon, and then I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot there's still games on ESPN, and then like TNT's not a thing anymore. It is a lot. It is a lot.
Yeah, I'll say just tonight on recording on December 11th. I already I thought Peacock was doing the Thursday night football game, and then also doing the NBA Cup uh, quarterfinals. But nope, I was wrong. It's
It's
just I mean, but it's just par for the course.
yeah, yeah. It really is, and
But in
it
terms of the on the court product, yeah, I mean yeah, we've got a whole lot of standing just standing stuff just like on its end, with the exception of the juggernaut that is Oklahoma City. I mean, it's like very much early a hey, are you taking the field or are you taking them? Because I mean, they're freaking 24-1. They are 24-1, Martin.
mm,
Obviously, we still got the crazy Clippers scandal that the league's trying to bury with content and games. Meanwhile, the Clippers are horrendous. You've got the Lakers doing really good things. We've had some surprises for sure. Yeah, we'll get to the Cavs again. You're currently at seventh in the East right now, towards the end of the pod. But I mean, the on the court product is really good. I mean, you're starting to see some emerging of the last quick team I want to hit on. Just yeah, I mean, Detroit basketball, JB Bickerstaff doing JB Bickerstaff things, raising the floor of a team, and yeah, I mean, the product's good. The court is apparently slippery for NBA Cup players. And I heard on another pod, and I've definitely witnessed this. This has happened in several games I've watched. We're having issues with getting the shot clocks to go. So I don't know if it's just a bad batch of shot clocks made like 5 years ago that are end of life now. But have you noticed that? It seems like it's like every fourth or fifth game I've watched.
yeah. I've noticed it a little as well. I don't know what the heck is going on. Can't even. It's just weird because I'm like, what? How are you making these mistakes?
So we've got NBA Cup going on right now for those that care, those that don't, and obviously the bracket. It continues to advance. We got games on tonight. It's still, I mean, OKC is still alive. They won last night, and one would think that it's theirs to lose. So that goes on. The teams that didn't make it will get to play the other teams that didn't get to make it. So the Cavs will, in theory, on paper, benefit a little bit from that. But Martin, we're really here to talk about our annual pod that we do, talking about the slate of Christmas Day games from a historical standpoint. 82 games is a long season. We've talked often, should we cut it back to 72? I'm definitely a proponent of it, especially looking around the injuries as athletes continue to push themselves more and more and more. So, I mean, the first meaningful basketball like tick on the timeline of the season is always Christmas Day, and then from there it's it's really competitive heading into the trade deadline, and then feeding for playoffs, and it'll be here quick.
Yeah, I definitely. I will also say, even just backtracking to like all the way back since we did our season preview, obviously, like that very first opening night of the NBA, if we talked about the Thunder, who've only lost one game, remember those first two opening nights, they were going into overtimes and double overtimes. Like we were having some real battles at the beginning of the year. So I just wanted to highlight how it's been really cool. Oh, also having it back on NBC, even though we just complained about it, but it has been cool but being back there. But you're right. Christmas is usually the time where everyone circles in the league. Like, all right, December 25th, Christmas. Then a week after that, we're in January. And then, like you said, it's getting ramping up from January to the trade deadline to All Star break. And then it's really, before you know it, it's playoffs. So you are right. Christmas is like that point where it's like, all right, if you haven't been locked in the NBA since October, you start locking in. And it is always that Christmas Day.
Seasons can certainly be lost by the time you get to Christmas for your really, really bad teams, but the Christmas Day mark moving forward is really all right. Like this is where teams start jockeying positions, start to separate themselves a little bit. Martin, that leads us to, for the first time since LeBron James was on the Cleveland Cavaliers, we have Cavalier basketball on Christmas Day, and they are game one at the Knicks at noon. Open up, start munching on stuff ahead of the time for the big dinner. Undo your open your presents, unbox your presents and stuff with the family. Get going, get to where you're going to go if you're traveling. Get settled in. Cavs at the Knicks in the Garden, game one.
Like you said, first time Cleveland's been on Christmas since LeBron. Like it's been a long time. Whew. I'm excited for them to be playing on Christmas, especially for people who really weren't locked into the Cavaliers last year. But I mean, with 60 plus wins, how could you not be? But these are two teams at the beginning of the year, Evan, that we thought could be vying for that top Eastern Conference spot and representing the East in the finals. Obviously, the Cavs with 60 plus wins last year, the Knicks getting close last year, but now, and then also we talked about other teams that could follow suit. But right now, the Knicks are playing really good ball. Cleveland has a lot of injuries. We've been dealing with the injury bug throughout the year. So I think if the Knicks are fully healthy and Cleveland's not, I do think the Knicks are going to take this one.
Yeah, that's my prediction too. I again, we'll spend a little bit more time here in a second on the Cavs injury woes and what that means and when people may or may not get healthy, or this is just how it's going to be. But the Knicks are currently on December 11th. Again, this will be kind of a moot point when you get 14 more days in between now and Christmas Day slate. But they're 17-7. They're second in the East. They've won 4 straight. Brunson has certainly kicked it up scoring-wise this year at 28 points a game. Cat is up a little bit in terms of efficiency, but it's really that depth for New York that has been super, super helpful. How many times did we make fun of Tibbs with, just running the crap out of the same 6 guys, playing Josh Hart 47 out of a possible 48 minutes? It felt like, on those big matchups where it counted. But, the depth, adding Jordan Clarkson, Landry Shamet, they've signed off the bench, or, the scrap heap like a couple times, it feels like, in the last 3-4 years, is close to 10 points a game. They've put Josh Hart back in the starting lineup. They were messing around with Mitchell Robinson a little bit in the beginning of the year, starting alongside Cat in the front court. But, Bridges, after a slow start and, struggling to kind of find his way last year, is rounding up into shape, shooting over 50%. I believe he's only one of 3 Knicks shooting over 50% from the floor, to include Mitch Robinson, obviously, for easy dunks, and Josh Hart. You're getting OG stuff out of OG, but I'm right there with you, man. I mean, I just think the Cavs are just really beat up right now, and they've got a lot to prove still as they get pieces back, or when they get pieces back. And if there's no pieces back, I think it's a win in New York to start Christmas Day.
Yeah. But then if everyone's pieces are back, then I mean, if Cleveland's fully healthy, then that's I could see it swinging the other way. Or it could be something
It could.
again. Donnie could have one of those explosive Donnie games out the blue. So
Donnie is one. You're exactly right. Donnie's one for the spotlight. He hates the Boston Celtics. I think he averages like 32 points a game in his career against the Celtics, and he loves CD Garden. He loves the Garden. You absolutely could see him going off, and by all means, like is you know, you can feel my frustrations a little bit for a 14-11 Cavs team right now. But Cleveland has the pieces. It's just a matter of, can they get healthy and can they get some synergy quickly ahead of this matchup to keep it competitive, to keep it within, 8, 10 points, here and there, heading into the fourth. Things aren't going the way they need to, because they struggle to call back in when they've had some slow starts, and this team has just repeatedly had slow starts this year. So if you're down early and big and keep chasing a 15 to 20 point bubble on the road in New York, probably not going to be your day.
right. We then go to the 2:30 game going out west with the San Antonio Spurs versus the Oklahoma City Thunder on Christmas. It is actually funny, Evan, if that is actually going to be the semifinal game for the NBA Cup. And
Yeah.
we're going to get that on Christmas because that game is going to be the NBA Cup game. The Thunder and Spurs are going to be played this Saturday at 9 o'clock. So it's hilarious how they're playing in the semifinals there. And then they'll be playing on Christmas Day there. Evan, I think the Thunder are going to take it, I think, pretty handily,
Yeah.
especially if Wemby is not playing, because
Oh, yeah.
he's not played for a while. When he was playing, he was absolutely dominant, but he's just been out due to injury.
The Spurs were frisky last night, knocking off the Lakers
They did,
three-headed
yeah.
dragon or 2.5 dragon. Castle with 30 points in that elimination game in the Cup. Getting the kudos from Braun. Fox has been great. I think a lot of people were dogging and looking at the contract and him being injured, and like, why are you, amidst all these, young up and coming Ferraris, like doing the De'Aaron Fox thing, and did you overpay and all those things? Fox has been great. He really has.
Yeah, it's been good for that.
But you're exactly right. I mean, Wemby obviously helps that, because how do you? It's just a little tougher to defend for OKC. So just in terms of the size piece. So, but I mean, I anticipate OKC to do OKC things.
Yeah, I think this is OKC pretty handily, unless something.
Can we talk about AJ Mitchell real quick?
Oh, the young man. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, talk about a guy that just kind of come in like just off the radar. Not a lot of feature last year. Trying to pull up his games. Was he? Because he was on his second round pick, I believe. Let's see. No, sorry, I clicked on the wrong thing. Clicked on Wiggins. Give me 1 second here. AJ Mitchell. Yep. So he was second round pick in the 2024 draft at UC Santa Barbara.
Mm-hmm.
6'4" shooting guard. He so far this year has the games of 26, 20, 21, 21, 20, several 17s, 14s, and 18 and 16. He's averaging 14 points a game, shooting 46% from 2, 34% from 3. He's just come out of nowhere, man. I mean, just absolute dog. Last year he played a total of, so it had to have been some injuries / they didn't really need him. So
I will say, Evan, he benefited obviously from when their second best player was out for a lot of the season, Jalen Williams, because when he was out, that gave Mitchell a lot more time to play, find his groove, and all of that. And even with Jalen Williams back, he's still been contributing. But Jalen Williams, that's the other thing too. The Thunder didn't even have Jalen Williams for a lot of this current season. and still only lost once, and that
Yeah.
was on a back-to-back.
I mean, exactly. So it looks like AJ Mitchell only played like 37 games last year, but yeah, sticking in for J Dub, yeah, they could be really generous with his playing time and working his way back from injury and stuff. That guy missed out on so much money, Martin. I
He
mean, he had
did.
so many
Yep.
things tied into his contract for hitting All NBA, and some of these guys who've already missed so much. So I mean, like, I think this will be the first year LeBron's not going to make a All NBA team in however many years because I mean he missed such a huge thing with the sciatica as well too. So I mean it's starting to creep up on folks. But I mean he's just been absolutely amazing. He's done some spot time for Kason Wallace, who's been out. Alex Caruso, they've just been kind of like, we'll let you rest this night, like often, and they're still 24-1. I mean, it's just absurd. Like they're making it look just boring. They're still so good defensively. I've heard this several different places, and I see it. Kenny Atkinson for the Cavs talked about this too. Is like there's just this league philosophy of like, and it's led by Oklahoma City. So you had the Pacers last year, obviously pushing the pace, and let's pick up full court. But the biggest trend that OKC has just really had people reevaluate is we're just going to be so aggressive in the passing lanes. At a certain point, you're not going to call a foul every time down the floor. So we're swiping, we're scraping, we're stealing, and then even then we're getting a chance to reset our defense if you do send us to the line. So a lot of teams are trying to do that and put the pressure back on the refs. Martin, they're just a juggernaut right now, and I think they're going to take this on Christmas Day handily, and SGA might be sitting on the fourth, signing autographs for Christmas presents for kids. Like he's done a lot of fourth quarters already.
That's the crazy. That's the crazy thing.
It's crazy.
He's still averaging his 30 points a game, but he sat out a majority of the fourth quarters. It's something we
Martin,
haven't seen
big,
since the Warriors,
good.
since
Yeah,
that
I mean it's just,
73-9 Warriors.
and even then, I was thinking today, we well could be looking at 5 years down the road and just thinking of the small market piece here, and they're just like, man, like we like take inventory of where you're at because like this could easily be one of those 5 years from now you look back at like this day and you're like, man, that was when we caught one of it or thought to think of it. This might be like month 18 of a 6 or 7 year Spurs like run where you're taking 4 out of 7 titles, or you know what I mean? Like it feels like we're heading that way. We're going back to back is really hard. Only Golden State has done that in the last 10 years, and Golden State was the last to do it since the Lakers with Shaq. So, I mean, you've only seen it like twice this decade, or twice since 2000 or 1999. You've had
Mhm.
back-to-backs. It's hard to do. So, I mean, a lot of people, you're going to take the field, you're going to guess, hey, just there's a lot of equanimity across the league and parity that, maybe somebody else can knock them off. You never know somebody's going to get injured, but they are just a juggernaut, man. So that's game. I think we're both in the same spot for game 2 on Christmas Day. Martin, Christmas came early for one of the next two teams in the form of Nico got fired in Dallas.
He did. He did
For the
since the
Dallas
last.
Mavericks fans.
He did since the
And they're
last
kind of
time
in,
that we
and
were
they're
on.
kind of in, and they're kind of limbo. So, I mean, a lot of floating around. Are they going to go ahead and just start stripping the pieces of the car and sending it to the just the whatever you call it, the lot, essentially, stripping it for pieces and parts and send it to the junkyard. A lot of talk about what could a Klay Thompson net you with what little's left of him, but more likely, what could we get for Anthony Davis if we move on? I'll say even before the season started, we were seeing Kyrie Irving putting up shots like, hey, that guy could come back. Like, Flag has been tremendous. Little Nembhard, I knew that was going to be a good pick. A lot of people want to dog. He's not the size of Andrew, but he's throwing the ball around great. I think he's on a two-way for them right now. The second round pick, I was like, man, Cavs, like I could see that, or I hope for that, but he's definitely not his brother's height. And so, I mean, they've got some pieces here that be a little frisky. Golden State's banged up. Draymond's been out, a little bit. Steph's been out currently. Again, we got freaking lacrosse players dropping 17 on the Cavs' heads and beating us in Cleveland with like nobody on their team, or Jimmy Butler. Like this is like, I don't want to say it's like a poo-poo platter game if like none of these players are playing and, they're not healthy, but just based on current, if injury status holds like they are for the Warriors right now, and it's like Butler and kind of, the ragtag team versus, hey, at least AD and Flag are back. I mean, I think I'd go Dallas here.
Yeah, I would go Dallas in this one in that sense. Because again, I don't know who's going to be there for the Warriors, like with the injuries like Steph and all that. And Cooper has been playing really well. Anthony Davis, so far it's hit or miss. Like he had the one game where he had like I think 0 points or something in the half, but then he followed up with that with like a 30-point performance. And yeah, I think Dallas, because the whole weekend's not going to go chalk, and I think Dallas is the underdog right now looking at it. So I think I'll go Dallas.
Dallas has won 4 of its last 5 as we go to record right now. AD's played in 10 games so far, averaging 19 points, 10 boards, 3 assists. Flag averaging in his rookie campaign 17 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists. PJ Washington contributing, Najee Marshall contributing. Yeah, I mean, I'm taking Dallas too. They're 9-16 on the year, but I think they're, they certainly can be frisky. It's a tough West, but on this day, all things considered, I like the size that just Golden State just does not have. So, Martin, let's go to, we have Houston and LA. This could be a good game.
Yeah. So will this be their first matchup this year?
I believe so.
So
I will double check that.
Well, so you got the Houston Rockets, who obviously has Kevin Durant, Ime Udoka coaching, that the stout defense, the players there. Then obviously got the Los Angeles
First
Lakers.
matchup, you're right.
Perfect. And then you got Los Angeles Lakers, who LeBron's just come back. Luka and Austin Reeves this whole season have been going absolutely pretty crazy. They're playing pretty well. I think this, looking at, depending on like health on health, this is probably going to be the most competitive game of the night.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly think this could be exactly that. It kind of depends. LeBron's going to suit up for Christmas Day.
Yes.
If you bought tickets thinking he's going to play probably the games before, he's probably going to take them off and just be prepped to play on Christmas Day. And you never know, is this his last one? Could it be, it was second to last one, whatever it looks like. His days are definitely numbered. But Martin, let's talk about this. So obviously Austin Reeves has been absolutely freaking bananas, right? Yes. I mean, just absolutely bananas. I mean, that guy has just been unhinged. They didn't have LeBron. They are 17-7. They're definitely still very top heavy. DeAndre Ayton, man, 15 points, 8.8 a game, just kind of being third, fourth fiddle some nights. LeBron's only played the 8 games. He had the famous streak of 10 points, since 2007 snap. His scoring is definitely down, probably 7-8 points at least compared to what it's been, 16.5 so far. He's still getting his legs under him. Plus, he's also a billion years old. Luka doing Luka things, but Reeves 27.8, 5 rebounds, 6 assists. I've liked Marcus Smart has been really good for this team. And then again, getting some good contributions off the bench from, the Jake LaRavia stuff, I think was like super hyped, like he was going to come in and be some crazy 6-man. No, but he's not, a scrub by any means. But, this team has no depth to make it anywhere in the postseason, but they want to go all out and have some fun during the regular season. They've certainly shown it, but I do like Houston in this matchup. I think KD's been exactly what they need for end of shot clock. We need a bucket guy. In the game, we need a bucket guy. But what he's brought out of Şengün, man, like it's just I really like to see. I mean, Şengün continues to climb. He's up 4 points a game so far from last year. He's upped his assists by a little over two a game, so he's essentially a walking 24-9-7 right now, 23-9-7 right now. And then again, like they're getting just enough from Reed Shepherd at 13-3-3, filling in for Fred VanVleet, who's been injured. They just got the length. I mean, look up and down. Eason, Thompson, Durant, Jabari Smith Jr., and then and then Steven Adams, the giant brick house that is Steven Adams. Man, would I love that have that guy in a Cavs uniform grabbing boards because we can't apparently grab boards anymore. So I like Houston.
Oof. Let me think this is in. I'm gonna go LA just for the simple fact that they're home. If they weren't home, I would go Houston, but I think the stuff that you said earlier about we don't know how many LeBron Christmases the NBA is going to be able to put out, and the way Luke and them are playing, I could just see those three just having a spectacular show, especially if this is the last or one. It's definitely going to be one of the last. It's just we don't know if it's the last Christmas with LeBron's. I could see him doing a
I like that
vintage
angle.
Christmas triple double. I can, or I can see Luca
I
just
like
going bananas.
I like that. I certainly like that angle. You certainly could see it. I mean, like you think about some of the ghosts LeBron's chasing and some of the former big time hitters of the game. Like this would have been a game like if this were Kobe's last Christmas or second to last Christmas, Kobe'd be going at it. And I think
Hmm.
LeBron knows that, recognize the moment. And if he's got it within to do it, I think he's going to show up and do what he can to, on the point side of things, try to get close to 30, or if he's got something deep in his bag, he could throw back out. But I mean, he's definitely more doing some of the facilitating stuff early on. His assists will be up there, but I absolutely could see that angle, Martin. That brings us to Minnesota and Denver. Minnesota comes into this Thursday night here as we record in the Western Conference at 15-9, which honestly is like three more wins higher than what I thought they were looking back. So, they're definitely trying to be active in the trade market right now. Mike Conley's just, God love him, and I love Mike Conley, former Buckeye, shout out. He's got nothing in the tank, but Ant doing Ant things. Randall, McDaniels, Naz Reid continuing to kind of put himself in that kind of six-man piece. But, I think Denver's starting to hit their stride a little bit. They're second in the West. Just they played two more games in Houston, so that's why they're up, and they're only a game up in the loss column to both San Antonio and LA. Martin, with the Nuggets, there were a lot of people questioning right off the bat, hey, just sending Michael Porter Jr. away, and yeah, we kept him from being on Crazy Podcast for a little bit, but there were a lot of questions about they screw up with Cam Johnson, but Cam's starting to turn it a little bit. What have you seen in the fit? What have you seen out of the Nuggets this year?
It's kind of crazy. Like I never thought Michael Porter Jr. was that big of a distraction until hearing him speak on anything on his
Yeah,
stuff. Like I didn't know he was like that or had those opinions. And God bless. Again, it's America. You're allowed to have your own opinions, but I don't agree with some of them. But I feel like Denver's under the radar right now. I mean, Joker is going. He's doing
29,
Joker
12,
things.
and 11.
Yeah, just normal Joker things. And I feel like they're under the radar. I mean, they're second in the West currently, I think, right now, percentage wise. But, the fact is, we just talked about the Thunder because they've been going nuclear, and the Lakers because of Austin and Luka and LeBron coming back. So they were talking about them, and, the Rockets with Durant. I feel like we haven't really given enough shine to the Nuggets so far to this Christmas point. And they have the best player on the planet. It's not even, I mean, he's the best player in the world right now, and they could still very much make a run to the Western Conference Finals, if not win it all. And they just haven't been talked about right now. So I think Denver's in a pretty good position to keep on keeping on. with their play. And I think Minnesota, I don't know if there's obviously Ant has gotten to the Western Conference Finals already in his young age. I just don't know if they're ready to really, really take that step to the finals if they even have the personnel to do that. So that's how I feel about both teams right now. But Ant could give you, he can win a series. You've seen him knock some big names out these past couple years, but that's where I think I'm at with both teams.
Yeah, I like Denver. I think Minnesota will get some stuff figured out. And again, they've hit the Western Conference Finals each of the last 2 years, haven't they?
Yep. Yep.
Um, I think we're in for a really, really, really good Christmas slate. I'm so glad, whether or not they win or not. I'm glad to have some meaningful Cavs basketball as a Cavs diehard on Christmas. And again, I think that Houston LA matchup will be the cherry on top of what will be a really good day. I think there'll be some really good ball ahead of us. Martin, let's spend some time towards the end of the pod here to talk about the Cleveland Cavaliers. I'll let you kind of go ahead and hit and just go through some observations, some takeaways. What are you seeing offensively, defensively? We talked a little bit about their record. This was a team that was projected to be, back to a 61 pace. And, as we head 25 games into the season right now, they are, again, 14-11, a plus-minus differential of only +3, 4-6 in their last 10. Yeah, I mean, it's obviously injury has been a huge part, but go ahead, Martin.
Yeah, so currently, let's just say if the playoffs started on Christmas, the Cavaliers would be in the play-in game as the seventh seed because we have 3, 4, and 11 teams in the East. Cavs, Miami, Atlanta, all 4 and 7, and 10th is the Milwaukee Bucks. Obviously, when we did the preview too, we had them not in the seventh seed. We had them around basically 1 to 3, pretty much the 1 or 2 seed, depending of how you went with the Knicks and the Cavs, because again, you can't. I felt like the East was ripe for the taking. Jason Tatum's out with the injury. Dame is out with the injury. Giannis, you don't know what they're doing, so that takes out the Bucks. The Sixers, who they've had their own rookie who's done really well this year as well, and Tyrese Maxey has taken another leap, but you didn't really factor them. Orlando was eh. Toronto's been playing some good ball, but it was eh. You didn't think Detroit would be number one at this time, so you thought the Cavs would be Cavs and Knicks in the Eastern Conference Finals. That was the plan. But you don't foresee injuries, and that's what's been happening with the Cavaliers. I don't have the percentage with me on how many games the Cavs have even played together. Like the full
Oh, I've
full
gotcha.
what's how many of the full roster played together?
Well, you took a pivot there for me,
Oh.
but so let's go a slightly parallel conversation here. So, Cavs players have missed find amongst starters, folks that haven't played yet. Obviously, a lot of this is tanked by Max Strus is 25 of these.
Mm-hmm.
But Cavs players have missed a combined 84 games due to injuries so far this season, and I'll give you the breakdown by player. As I mentioned before, Max Strus 25 games, Darius Garland 16 games, Sam Merrill 13 games. He will be out his 14th tomorrow in Washington. Jared Allen 10, Lonzo Ball 7, Larry Nance Jr. 7, Jalen Tyson 5. A lot of that for a concussion suffered in Miami, first of a back-to-back last month. DeAndre Hunter's missed 3 games. Craig Porter Jr.'s missed 3 games, and Dean Wade has missed 2 games. So those are your totals, Martin. They've been off since Saturday. And still, again, a lot of folks out tomorrow. No Sam Merrill, Jared Allen, Larry Nance, or Max Strus again tomorrow against the Wizards.
Yeah, we just can't get healthy. It's one of those things too. It's like I'm not just if it wasn't a health thing and it was a playing, I would be more concerned. But it's the fact that we can't get healthy for whatever reason, and we have to really ride this injury bug ship. Where it's like, all right, we still have plenty of time to make a surge. We don't have Joker, we don't have SGA and all that stuff in our thing. There's not really that many teams above us that scare me in a sense that if the Cavs get hot, they could beat anyone in the East, including the Knicks or the Pistons. I mean, you got Donnie averaging currently right now a smooth 30.5, Mobley 18.9, Allen 14.3, Tyson 13, Hunter 16, and Garland 14. So we're getting production from our top players, but we just cannot keep the full. We can't keep it. We can't keep our people healthy for whatever reason that may be. I think the Cavs, if they could get to, they're the seventh right now. If they could get to the All Star break back in that top four, I think they'll be fine.
Yeah, I think the ship is bound to kind of even out here a little bit when you start getting players back and consistently back. So let me dive in a little bit some data here I came across earlier today. So Cavs last year were fifth in shot quality,
Hmm.
24th in shot creation, so not a lot of ISOs, but yet they were fifth in shot making in the league. So
Hmm.
they were lethal in terms of again just taking good quality shots and making them. They were 5-5. This
Hmm.
year they're two spots back. They're seventh in shot quality. So to me that says the offense is running and they're getting good looks. They're just not making them because that fifth in shot making has now dropped to 17th so far through 25 games. And obviously, again, that's only about a little over a quarter season sample size, Martin. But part of it, you got to imagine, like, instead of a Naquan Tomlin out there with that wide open three, if you replace that with a Max Strus, and if Darius can get healthy, you've got him as opposed to Craig Porter Jr. maybe taking some of those threes when it's swing, 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 or Donovan drive, swing, swing back to Garland. Like, that stuff's got to matter. Like, but with that being said, like, I'll just give you, so those are some of the data points. Let me just give you some of my observations, I think, and let me know if you're seeing some of these because this may
Hmm.
just be me. But yeah, Donovan's just going off. I mean, he's averaging 30 a game. I really worry about the load this early on. And that wasn't, remember last year, he was down to like 23, 24 a game, something like that. Low minutes. He was under 30 minutes a game. Like we had the depth. We were managing everybody well. We were 21-4 through 5 games or 25 games last season comparatively. Now, again, hot start, some other things happen and stuff like it. You can't expect that, but somewhere in the middle for this team, the caliber is where you think we should be. I will say so. One frustrating observation for me on offense is I think when your personnel changes, I think you have to pivot what you're doing a little
Agreed.
bit. I mean, Kenny obviously has all the moving stuff, but at a certain point, like I see too much of us just going like four out with one at the line, and nobody's attacking the paint. I think I've seen in the last two games concerted effort to try to attack the paint a little bit better. But I mean, this team is almost like it's like Kenny's like saying, "Hey, you're all going to be grounded if you go out there and try to do four pick and rolls a quarter." Because they are not doing any pick and roll. And I think you do have to adjust a little bit to win ball games because this stuff's going to matter, towards the back end of March and April when you're working on seedings and, home court advantage and all those kinds of things. So I think you have to adapt with the personnel you have. And I think that, again, the pick and roll is still one of the hardest things to defend in the league, especially when you've got mobile bigs like not just Mobley, but a Naquan Tomlin still out there that can flash to the hoop and be aggressive on the offensive glass. But have you seen that? Have you seen the lack? I just don't feel like there's a lot of pick and roll ball action, and sometimes the offense just kind of sits because it's like they're told you're not allowed to do that.
I have, and I would say counter that is obviously what do you do to change that? Do you just say, "Hey, we just got to get to everyone being healthy"? Does the coach, or is it a we need to change the playbook? Like you said, hey, this is who we have available. We don't know who we're gonna have available, but we need to have like certain offensive sets for the people who are going to be available. I don't know if that's even specific besides the star players. Or do you make a move? Or do you make a move at the deadline to get someone of something.
Yeah, quick note. Again, you can do, I think there's so much creativity. Where there's a will, there's a way. You can get outside of these barriers. But a couple quick notes just on that for listeners who might not be familiar. Cavs, again, I think we said this in our preview pod to start the year. Cavs are the only team in the league above the second apron. With being above the second apron comes a lot of handcuffing of things you can and cannot do. You cannot aggregate players to send out in a trade to the same team. So, for instance, there's a lot of question marks about Giannis right now. If the Cavs wanted to cobble together, 2020 your 2033 first, a 2031 first, and swaps, Jared Allen, Darius Garland, and DeAndre Hunter, maybe to a third team, whatever, to try to get in a Giannis contention thing while keeping some folks together, like they can't do that. You can also not send first round picks out, so you can only stack and send second round picks. I think there's some maneuverability you can do if you can move in like a third, fourth, or fifth team to kind of spin the dial and move this piece goes here, this piece goes here kind of thing in the musical chairs. But obviously, again, if they decide, hey, we're going to shed salary, we're going to send, a player somewhere else to get under the second apron temporarily, then you can go back to doing whatever you want and aggregate players and those kinds of things. I also believe you can't fill your 15th roster spot, which is open for us right now too. So, I mean, we are in cap heck. Like, there's just not a lot we can do. But again, you can not throw away some players to an extent you can, but you can trade a player for a less than that player's value. Like, if you really wanted to, you could rehome Jared Allen for someone else, send you back, maybe a pick or a conditional pick and a player not making $20 million. But that's essentially where you're at, is any one-for-one trade that you're allowed to make right now has to be for that player's value, exactly dollar for dollar or less. And just how unique contracts are. And looking at the list, and I've looked at the list, Martin, there's not a lot of players, like Jared Allen's a name that comes up. There's not a lot of players that make under $20 million. They're like, I can see being frustrated with Jared Allen at times, but he's not that bad.
No. What about I mean, just shout out to one of our friends. What about Garland? Are you starting to get impatient with Garland? I know he's been hurt, but
Are
still.
you shouting out Oso without
Uh,
saying his name?
yep.
Yeah, so my frustrations with Darius does not look the same. I mean, you see it like 8 to 10 times during a game, in the games he does play, is like he's limping around still, and like that's just like you just wonder. And obviously, again, like the turf toe stuff, I think he didn't get enough of a pass on. Everybody said he was kind of whistling out in the playoffs, and then magically Joe Burrow has a turf toe and is out like 9 games, and everybody's like, "This is one of the worst injuries you can have on your foot." And like, so it's sad that it goes to that. But if Darius isn't healthy, you got to figure it out and play the long game and sit him down. Like, he's playing with basically like a really protected, I don't know if it's a plate or something to protect in his shoe right now, but he said it's bothering him. His shot has been so poor, Martin. Statistic wise, and I just lost all my stuff. He's definitely down when it comes to his 3-point shooting, his 2-point shooting in the games he has been playing in. So Darius has only played in 9 of the 25 games. He's averaging 14 points on a very low 35% overall from the field. Like, and you see that. He's had so many atrocious games, 32% from 3. This is generally a guy who's flirting with a 50-40, 82-ish, not 50-40-90 for the phrase, but this is a guy who shoots the ball really, really well. He's still averaging 6 assists when he's in there, but he's just not the same right now, Martin. And again, like, my frustrations, I think, are more on, it's tough to watch him try to play through this, because I don't think it's going to get any better unless he does take time off, and 5 days off helps a little bit in between games. But is this just going to be the narrative on Darius Garland? Like, I think there's a lot of freak injuries you can say is, yeah, the dude took like 3 pops to the face and orbital fracture and broken nose and broken jaw, and he lost 20 pounds with a broken jaw because he drink through a straw. Like, is this just going to be like all these ticky tack things and like this is his career? That's my frustration.
I think it's all valid. I
Can
think
I
it's
talk
all
about it?
valid.
Can I talk about one? Well, one, I'll give you one negative spot still that's really frustrating. And the data says they're in the right spots, in terms of tracking and stuff. But man, the rebounding has severely hurt this team to start the year, particularly in the last 10 to 12 games. I mean, just kind of ball watching, not boxing out. You play the Celtics where you get all those long carom back threes that are, the Celtics just keep getting offensive rebound, offensive rebound, offensive rebound. Like, we are just struggling to get boards right now. Mobley and Allen together have struggled. Mobley seems to be getting his boards when he's just, playing the five. A lot of double games there, near double games. But I mean, the rebounding stuff to finish a possession defensively has really hurt. And I think that's why you see a +3 differential, but only a +3 differential right now. But Martin, the last thing I want to talk about. So AJ Mitchell, we talked about as a second-year player coming out of seemingly nowhere and making a huge ascent and everything else. I got to tell you, buy stock now on Jalen Tyson. 13 points a game, 5 rebounds a game, almost 2 assists a game on 52% from 2. And Martin, he's shooting 46% from 3. He's got kind of you've seen it. He's got kind of like we'll call it an unconventional shooting motion. It's real high, kind of up and above his head, and it's not quick. But I'll be darned if it's not efficient, man. Let's look at his last 5 or 6 games here. 17 points against the Celtics, 27 points, season high at Indy, 14 points against Portland, 24 against San Antonio, 11 against Golden State. He's been spot starting a lot, but for a guy who played in 47 games last year, averaged 3.5 points a game, so he's up to 13 now. And I mean, I would bring Hunter off the bench because Hunter's had a really bad stretch as well too. And I keep having Jalen Tyson if everybody was healthy today. But I mean, he's just been so impressive, man.
It's another one of those things where people are out and people who may not have gotten the shine if everyone was fully healthy at the beginning may not have gotten, just like you said with Mitchell and with him as well. So
Did you see the
he's
survey released yesterday amongst NBA front offices about like perceived best front offices?
yeah, I saw the Thunder were one. I forgot the top five. I just know the Thunder were
Cleveland,
one.
Cleveland was Cleveland was somewhere between 4 and 6. Maybe they were either 4, 5, or 6. But a lot of comments made in the one pull quote was, "Look what Cleveland's done with developing guys that were just incredibly available, like whether it's undrafted or whether it's into the second round and stuff." I mean, we've not talked about, Tyrese Proctor should not be getting a lot of minutes for this team. But in the 18 games he has played, he's averaging 5 a game. He's picking up people full court. He's doing great things. Look at some of the other projects we've taken on over the years. Craig Porter Jr., Dean Wade, who's, made himself into, a good hot starter, long defensive wing and can step out and hit threes and stuff. I don't have high hopes for Luke Travers sticking around in the league, but, he's not been necessarily harmful, and we've had playing minutes down guys. They're working on this Chris Livingston reclamation project now, but Naquan Tomlin, again, who never played high school basketball at all. It looked at Sam Merrill. He won a title with the Milwaukee Bucks, but was cut, and, he's just got a $40 million contract. I mean, look what they've been able to do, for pennies on the dollar. Just impressive what Kobe's done so far. And I mean, there's got to be optimism just getting folks healthy, but we got to get there.
Agreed. Agreed. We got to win more at home too, man. 9-6 at home is not. I
Yeah.
ain't cutting it.
Nope.
So, and it's not the NFL.
Nope.
But no. Real quickly then, since we did talk about the Cavs, just a real quick stuff on Do you think Giannis does move at the deadline, or you just think this is smoke and gun and we're just gonna ride this till the whole year's over?
I don't have everybody's cap scenarios in front of me. I've heard all the pundits, again, try to find a way to get him to New York. If I'm Milwaukee, I just don't. You're telling me you're going to get like no, New York has zero picks,
Yep.
and you're going to try to sell me on Cat to keep people in the seats, and we're just going to try to bottom out. It's not like Milwaukee has their best of the best picks as well too for what they've shelled out to try to put a team around Giannis, and even dating back to the championship year. I mean, and what they originally gave up for Drew Holiday and all those kinds of things. I mean, I think your team that could do it right now, it's crazy enough, is, I mean, OKC still got the picks, and Hayes be like, let's do it even more. But I don't see them doing that. Obviously, that accelerates your timeline a lot more when you got a 60 some pushing $70 million player in the next couple of years of the contract Giannis is going to get. Houston, I think, still has the ability to potentially put some intriguing things and dangle them back out in front of Milwaukee. But I mean, I think this goes into the summer, Martin. I really do. I think people grit. I mean, and it helps, I think, a little bit with Milwaukee, like just keeping him for the rest of the year because he's hurt and he's out for another 4 to 5 weeks or so. So that buys you time. And then you're like, okay, why are we selling? Why do we have to sell or decide it now and 6 weeks leading up to the deadline? And like we just buy ourselves to the summer when teams might move around more. Like, let me throw this out there. Would you, if you could move stuff around, get outside the second apron, you'd put Mobley in a Giannis deal, right?
Yeah, I would.
It's tough, man. You have to though. You have to though. Like you're still hopeful. I mean, Mobley's doing 20-9, still, really great on the defensive end, and he's only like 20, 22, 23, and Giannis is considerably older in basketball terms, but not ancient by any means. But like you got to do it. You're right.
Just something you gotta do.
I think it goes on to the summer.
Yeah, I agree. I just don't see a seismic mover. And obviously, people would also say, well, a team that has all the picks to move them, like, whatchamacallit, the Thunder. But I don't think the Thunder are doing that. Like, they're future planning. So I don't think they're doing that.
Nope. I mean, the Hawks have been floated out there too, and I mean the prize piece is. I mean, talk about ascensions. I mean, he was injured last year. You saw stuff at
Jalen
Jalen Johnson.
Johnson.
Jalen Johnson is a dude.
Hmm.
A lot of Tatum like qualities in that young man, and they're doing it without Trey. I mean,
Yeah, Trey has not played in ages.
I
Like,
think
I can remember
it's
the
a
last
test
time
run
Trey
for
played.
the post Trey era.
That's true, which I mean, that's the other thing. Being hurt can mean if the team's doing so well without you, the front office can be like, do we really need this player? Like, how much can we get? How much can we get if we got Trey Young on the market? What would teams be willing to give up? So, I don't know, man. Evan, anything else?
Yeah, just happy holidays to you and the fam, brother. Happy holidays to the listeners. We love this sport. It's still that perfect time. College football starting to slow down. We still got pro football on, so the football basketball combo. As frustrating as the channel flipping is, I mean, there's games on every night. We'll see what is in store for the next round of the NBA Cup to kind of limp us through and get us closer to NBA Christmas. But happy holidays to the listeners.
Yeah, I agree. Happy holidays. To everyone who listens, thanks for the support through listening. I guess with the channel, it does stink. It really does because now it's even beyond channels. It's app switching. Like you got to go from this app to this app. You can't even just flip a
That,
channel like the old days,
that's the
which
worst part.
it is the absolute worst. I wish there was an app that you could just have all, but then that's cable. If you just have all the apps in one app that you can flip between, so that's not happening anytime soon unless these conglomerates work out a deal. But enjoy it, man. I've been really enjoying watching some of the games I've been able to watch this year and seeing stuff like the Pistons number one in the East. Who would have at 19-5? Who would have thought that? Or the Thunder only having one loss, or like ascensions of Jalen Johnson or Austin Reeves taking another step, and the Spurs still being in there without Wemby, and just all the different things that we've seen is just from our perspective as fans of our home state team. Just need the Cavs to get healthy and win some games at home because I know what they could do at that arena. I was about to call it Gund Arena. That's not been called that forever. But we just need them to get healthy and then we'll see what we can do. The East is wide open, in my opinion.
Wide open.
So with that being said, thank you everyone. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Have a happy new year and enjoy that Christmas basketball. You guys take care. Thank you for listening to this episode of the L7C podcast. Be sure to like, rate, review, and subscribe to the channel. Follow us on all social media platforms, and we'll be talking to you guys soon. Take care.